Well, welcome to the Lakeland's first installment of worship videos. I have decided after playing this last weekend that I'm listening to myself, that there are some things that might be of help to share with the rest of the team, and also some things that I've learned over the years that really help with specifically keyboard playing in a band. And I know I alluded to them or gave you some links a couple weeks ago, but there's three things that I want to physically show you and talk about, because I believe that they are really the only way to have the best sound and to have the best team possible, as far as our part of the whole is. And so the first thing is really that we are a part of the whole. And one thing we learned you learned in music school is you played a instrument well. Like, you played it to its extreme. You took that instrument to the fullest potential it possibly could be. And when you start playing in a band, it's almost like you're feeling like you're giving up on some of your skill. And really what you are doing is realizing that you are a part of a whole. And when to create a full opus or a full band setting, you are literally playing just enough to fill in. And so here's a quote I found, and it's entitled to Playing Your Part. That's really good. It says, "If worship music is less glamorous than any other music styles, then playing the keyboard for worship is the least glamorous of all. The keyboard player is the only there to support the band. They play to thicken the sound, to fill in the gaps in the sonic spectrum. They play in frequency ranges that no one else is playing in. If someone moves into their range, they move somewhere else. They must be aware of what everyone else is playing to be ready to change their part to support someone else." I'm going to give you an example. This weekend, I played with Team 2, Trisha's team. Woohoo, I think it's 2. Anyway, I was in my ears. I turned up the electric guitar and I turned up the bass and pretty much had nothing else in my ears. And the reason I did that is because on the frequency spectrum, there are two places that there's one small space that bass guitars can go in, and then electric guitars have a large space, but we have the biggest space of all. And so by process of elimination, we have to play well in the sandbox. So I'm going to show you something here. I've done a little creative work here, and I don't know if this is backwards on your, I don't know how to flip it. Anyway, here is the bass range. So our lovely bass friends it is longer, it is bigger, but they usually just sit right in here. And if we play in this range, I'll show you. So I am going to play one of our pads down here. I don't know if you hear that, but it's like rattling everything. And it also basically sounds like a bass, and it'll overpower a bass at any given time. If we were to go down even lower, you're basically, when you play that, and I don't want to be mean, but you're basically saying, "I'm more important than you, Mr. Bassman." And we don't want to do that to our friends. So what I do on the pads when I'm making the pads is, as you can see back here, it's the full length of the keyboard right now. But what I do when I'm actually making the pads is that's not it. I literally only give us this much pad, which is right in the center. And I don't know if you can see that up close. But what that is the blue line is where any guitar would go, electric and acoustic. So basically what you guys are doing is dancing with the electric guitar. It's a little lovely dance, and it can be really fun, and I'll give you the example I was going to give you before. But what I do with the pads then is I end up limiting the pads, so you're really only getting pad sound from here to here. And then here, it's just piano, if you need a piano percussive sound. And from here on up, it's just piano too. I taped it off so you wouldn't be able to see. I wouldn't be able to what I'm trying to say. So that you'd be able to see what I was talking about. I keep looking at the wrong thing. Anyway, so this brings me to my second part of our conversation technique. So with the story that I was going to tell you, I was playing with Mike Kepke and playing with, who was it? Marianne. Oh my goodness. Okay, playing with Marianne. I could see her. She's wearing black and she's really cool. We were playing, doesn't really matter what we were playing. I think it was Jesus. And Mike was doing a really cool lick on his guitar, but he was doing it down in the mid-range, so down by middle C. And so what I had to do is I said, okay, he's doing a little dance down here. I'm going to either go down here, which is below middle C, or I'm gonna go above here and just hold notes so I don't mess with his rhythm, because he was rhythmic, the bass drum was rhythmic, Marianne was rhythmic, and then you've got, of course, the percussive instruments and the vocalist as well. So I literally was holding 2 to 3 notes. So like it was in G, so I was holding like a G, and maybe a D, a G, G, and D, basically 3 notes. And that was all I was doing for a lot of it, until it would come to the bridge part where it was there was a piano part. And so that's the first part of how to play and where to play. The technique then goes on to a separate issue, which maybe I should push pause and play this and do the next step. So stop, I'm gonna come back.